Happy Harry Holland Day, Drafters. It's Dan, it's JP, and England plays Norway tonight. So Harry Kane will be going up against Erling Haaland, and that'll be a lot of fun for anybody still paying attention to the World Cup. See, here's the thing. I'm torn because I took England in the game, right? I actually didn't think Norway
England's going to win.
By, Brazil, right? But at the same time, dude, I freaking love Erling Haaland and everything that Norway's been doing. So obviously, I'm like torn. I think I'm gonna wear because I'm going to the speakeasy with friends because there's a bunch of England fans. Even though I picked England, I think I'm gonna wear my Fat Thor shirt that I got, the one that I got you in the wrong size, so now we both have one. Because it's just there's the Viking tie-in, right? So I think that might have to happen, and I'm not going to be fussed one way or the other. We are going to try to sing the different songs that the English fans sing, and apparently one of those involves talking about shooting down German bombers, which would be funnier if they were playing Germany. And it's funny because you think about that, like that's actually been a thing right now. Is like people are complaining that this is culturally insensitive or rude to talk about this. I'm like, sure, but they were also Nazis. So, it's where it's fun trying to debate what you can and can't do, but they're soccer fans and they're just shouting. So that's all you got to worry about there. I also want to point out, though, today.
Dude.
Something interesting just happened?
One of the South Africa midfielders, 25 years old, died.
Oh, that's not cool.
He was just played in this round of 32. All right, dude. Jaden Adams dies at 25. Sorry.
Wow, that's crazy. No, and again, that's obviously...
It's just weird you're talking about the World Cup and then it pops right up on my phone.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. I figured I'd be the one to get international, updates on things, but good on you picking that up, and yeah, obviously not cool to have that pop in as we're talking about, joking about guys and cheers and things like that. And it's a reminder that regardless of how much fun we like to have and the jokes and laughs, it is still people playing the game, and so condolences out there to the family and to everybody who's having to deal with that. I hope it was just. Somebody leaving at 25 is never expected, so you can't sit back and say that that's the case. But we'll look forward to more coming from that, and for some just challenges for that family as they're going through that in the nation. I mean, they had a great run. This is the first time that South Africa's made a knockout stage. Right. Now, mind you, part of it's it's easier to get to the knockout stage. It's 32 instead of 16, but still, it was a great sign for them. So that's a bit tragic. Today is also though the 11th of July. And you know how I like to pull up random things that happen on days. This one shouldn't be surprising to you, though, that it's National Slurpee Day. Because,
Slurpee? They still make Slurpees?
Yeah, 7-Eleven, man.
Slurpees?
It's the 11th of July, so 7-Eleven free Slurpee Day.
Oh, I get it.
Exactly. Yeah. It is also, believe it or not, National Blueberry Muffin Day. And
I'll take that over a Slurpee. Thanks.
Right. And National Mojito Day.
I'll take that.
Basically, and it's also National State Fair Food Day. So the idea is get turned, eat terrible food, grab a Slurpee at the end of the day, and also International Skinny Dip Day. So
I'm down with that too.
I'll pretty
take
much
a mojito and the skinny
doing.
dip. Skip all the rest for me.
Mm-hmm. So that all to say is nothing about what we're going to be talking about today. Oh yeah, by the way, one more thing too. Your wife will appreciate this. International Essential Oils Day. So
that's fun.
For those of you who do not partake of that sort of thing, some of those essential oils at least smell good. Everybody thinks they have different other properties too, but have an open mind. That's all we're saying when it comes to different ways to make yourself feel better. I was having that conversation with her yesterday. We'll talk about that another day, another time. But today, dude, we need things that'll help us feel better because we just had probably the most challenging exercise that we have done in a long time, and it is going to be something we're going to do every year. We had to find players from the G6, the 6 smaller conferences in college football, to talk about when all of the guys that we have like background on and players that we were paying attention to last year from these schools have either graduated or gotten paydays to go somewhere else. I'm not opposed to them putting back in the one transfer rule because it'll make our jobs easier.
But that might
be the only thing.
Yes. I mean, that's self-explanatory. It is so hard. I've often vented about how hard it is to follow this. So I guarantee you there's still people. Listen to the beginning, the intro to the last show that was super long, because I'm not going to say it again. But yeah, that'll explain if there's any mistakes on this.
Exactly. Well, we're going to jump into things with Conference USA. So today, Conference USA Sunbelt MAC. We're going to finish with the MAC because that's where we are located in the great state of Michigan, which apparently is dealing with some sort of food-borne fungal outbreak or something right now. So wash your produce, everybody.
Bowel movements.
Exactly. Wash your produce, or else you might be spending some time in the bathroom. And that's the funny thing about that. It's like it's never cool, right? You never want to have anyone get hurt for any reason, much less we were talking about earlier with someone dying at 25. But there's just something about if the only thing that happens out of this is explosive diarrhea, it's a little bit funny.
Yeah. Dude, every time I've heard people talking about it at work, and I just, in my mind, I see the scene from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, 100%. It's Harry on the toilet in Aspen. Just letting it fly. Yep, and that's real life right there, man. You know, everybody's had some challenges in the bathroom. So we're going to focus on the challenging names that we came up with across all of these teams, these conferences. Let's start off with Conference USA, which in the pecking order of conferences, I think is technically at the bottom. There's a fight between Conference USA and MAC for who the least favored of those conferences is right now. But because I'm a MAC fan, we're going to put Conference USA at the bottom. And also because that seems to be where last year, at least, where teams moved into from the lower levels. Now, of course, this year, the MAC got the one lower level team moving up that everybody thinks shouldn't have been there. We'll talk about Sacramento State later on. So where do you want to begin, rather, with Conference USA? Are we in Delaware?
Yeah. I'm going to stick with the alphabetical thing. So we are in Delaware for me. Dude, I could be wrong. It appears I'm right. I don't know. I talked about him last year as the small school guy from this school. It's KTC. I thought for sure that he probably would have been gone. He's listed on, like, say, College Football Reference as a junior. I think he was listed completely different than that on our lads. And he matched one of them on ESPN. I don't know. As far as I can tell, he's still on that roster.
And he is on their page. Like, he's on their 2026 roster on the Delaware, like, homepage, if you will.
And this past season, man, 91 tackles, 3 picks, pass deflection, forced fumble recovery. Again, he's just a safety. Well, DB, he's more of a safety to me, but with good size, he's allegedly 6'2", 190, and 91 tackles. That's extremely good for a safety. So
yeah, he's a CUSA.
I like it.
Right, and he's Conference USA first teamer. So usually those guys do move on to bigger NIL deals somewhere else. But I guess he loved it at Delaware, or wanted just to continue to ply his trade there. We'll see. Jacksonville State, the Gamecocks, one of a few schools that uses basically a big giant chicken as their mascot. But they have a couple of guys that I found at least mildly interesting. Walker Osteen was one, and the fact that his name is Walker O'' is just fun to me. But Traquan Feggins is the guy that I'm going to talk about. He is a corner that has been at least interesting to me. When you're trying to pick out a player and figure out anybody at this level, he is a guy who played Jacksonville State. He was USC, then USF, Jacksonville State last year, 6'1", 190. Had a pick, had 5 pass breakups. And while he, at 6'1", 190, wasn't necessarily great in the run defense, he did do a pretty good job. I mean, dude had only 39 targets. So, again, he wasn't necessarily targeted a ton. Only 14 catches. So this guy has some lockdown ability. The fact that he was able to keep that kind of like 35, 36% reception rate, pretty decent. And again, for a school that's not going to get a ton of love in a lot of places, he could be a small school guy that has a chance to get to a Shrine Bowl or something like that and make some noise.
Next up for me, I'm going to go to Florida International here. Dude, it's kind of quirky. Yeah, the Panthers. He's listed everywhere as a D lineman or a linebacker. A linebacker, most common D lineman, like D lineman on our lads in College Football Reference. I think he was a linebacker on PFF. Doesn't matter. He's 6'5", 259, so he's 100% an edge rusher of some sort. So don't call him at least call him an outside linebacker, if anything. But he's an edge rusher to me. And he's got okay stats. He's mostly up here for the intrigue of the size. Again, 6'5", 259. I mean, that's you pretty much draw it up in a lab. That's right in the ballpark of what you're looking for. But they don't make a lot of guys like that, you know?
Sure.
Only 24 tackles, but again, it's allegedly D-line / edge rusher, but 6 sacks, not too bad. You'd want to see more at that level of competition for sure. But he's got a couple pass deflections, so using the height to his advantage. So he's just intriguing. There's not a lot. And I'll rewind a little bit. Delaware, I also had Sean Wilson and Gavin Mole, but the other two that I had for Florida International is Josiah Taylor and Shamir Sterling. But I went with Simmons as the guy that I'm.
Okay, you finally said his name. I was going to wait and see if you got there.
Oh, I didn't say Kenton Simmons yet?
No, Kenton Simmons. Yeah, and right. And so, yeah, all of that to say he's listed as an outside linebacker with PFF.
Oh, he is?
So,
where?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just
Not
linebacker
PFF, right.
there.
Well, and again, that's because he's probably in the 3-4 or something like that. So, yeah, he definitely is the most intriguing guy coming out of that school, but you got to see if the production keeps up with, the physical, which is always the case, the question mark when it comes to a lot of these teams. Kennesaw State Owls. Donovan Westmoreland, an edge rusher for them, is an interesting guy, but Barron Hobson is who we're going to talk about today, and Barron is a linebacker. So I know you're never going to complain when I bring up linebackers because it's just too much fun to grab guys who are traditional linebackers. Now, mind you, he's 6'1", 222, so he's not a huge linebacker, right? He's also a sixth-year guy who played at Jackson State and then 3 years at Kennesaw, but he's still hanging around. Which is why he's still at Kennesaw, by the way. I mean, this guy probably would have got, if he was a junior or senior traditionally, he'd probably be at a bigger school potentially with what he's put up there. But last year, 138 tackles. Anytime you're breaking the century mark.
That.
Yeah. Anytime you're breaking the century mark, we like it. He also had a pick, had 3 pass breakups. You know what? His coverage grade is not spectacular. He strikes me as a slightly undersized middle linebacker, right? And again, I say slightly undersized because 6'1", 222, you'd like him to put on, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, depending on where he's going to be at the next level. But this is a guy who's just been, last year was his first full starting year, even with all those other partial years he's had. And dude came through as a thumper. So we'll see if Barron can replicate that this year with Kennesaw.
Well, the next one's pretty easy for me. Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders here. I only had, how many do you have? I have one.
I got 2.
Whew. Who are your 2? Hit me
we
with
have 3 total. I've got Marcus Allen and Ricky Lee.
Oh, boy. No, we got 3 total.
Hey, all right.
I went with Kalen Woods, safety. Not a ton of stats here, but I was just looking at their team and, between guys who currently aren't listed as even starters or, me, I was still trying to avoid the transfer thing. And he was a transfer last year. He came from New Mexico, but he's now at Middle Tennessee. He's only got 36 tackles and a pick. But, dude, I didn't have anything that really stuck out to me that I had notes from last year, remembered any type of tape or any of that. So
right.
Maybe I missed. Maybe I'll have to look into your guys, but he's the only one for Middle Tennessee.
Well, and again, when you talk about like a safety that's 6'2", 196, at least that's what I've got him listed as. That's you can work with that, right? The question is whether or not he is able to put up more stats next year for a probably not good Middle Tennessee team. So the good news for him should be plenty of opportunities to get tackles.
Yep.
Because he might be not just the last line of defense, but the only line of defense out there for them. Liberty Flames, they kind of feel like they have rebooted, so to speak, a little bit. Like they were great a couple years ago against a soft schedule, had a bit of a down year last year. People are talking about them at this point in the year as being a place where things are getting better, if you will, but that's always what people say this time of year. Like we've joked about in the NFL, how many different articles are coming out about how great guys are looking in, shorts and a t-shirt and OTAs and things like that. So Jamari Person is the guy that I'm going to talk about, though. Wide receiver, was at Colorado State, Liberty last year. So he's got 1 year under his belt with Liberty. He didn't put up crazy stats at any level so far. Had 29 catches for 338 yards. Dude has only gotten 1 touchdown. And this gives you an idea where we're at with Liberty, right? There are not a lot of top flight players, but he's 6'1", 200. So size-wise, as a wide receiver, that's fine.
It's not bad. Yeah.
No, it's very solid. It gives him an opportunity to play anywhere, whether he be in the slot or he's going to be out wide, which if you look at his splits, he was in the slot at Colorado State and he's out wide with Liberty. So he's shown that he can play in both places. He just hasn't played a ton yet. So this is a huge year for him. This is very much a projection. But when I looked at the other guys on the roster, that was kind of what I saw, was the one bright spot, so to speak. And again, I say a bright spot. This dude is still like on the cusp of UDFA territory. So
we'll see what comes out of this. Everybody we're talking about today would be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The New Mexico State Aggies, aka
they're not the Aggies.
The Ron Swansons,
exactly. Which, by the way, while you're talking about, have you seen? You got to look this up right now while we're talking about it. Look up the new UTEP mascot. They changed up the look of the UTEP Miners from the like old-looking man that has the pickaxe. They went and took a page out of, I almost want to say, the Pistol Pete angle that Oklahoma State does, where they basically turned him into like a grizzly-looking fun guy.
His name's Pay Dirt Pete.
He is Pay Dirt Pete, which Pistol Pete's probably not happy
which
about.
Which one is it? I feel like it's this. I see where it shows the old and the new, but
they kind of went back to their roots, so to speak.
There's another one that says UTEP reveals new look mascot, and
what do you got? That's the older one. So that's the one that they based the new one off of. That was like the guy weird, from the 70s, I think.
Because look at this, shows the old and the new.
Right, that's the new one. That the one that's on the right there on your screen,
right,
is the new one. But yeah, that's what I say. But again, that caught me off guard.
Why do I kind of like this? That old one, I kind of like the best.
That's what I was about to say. Like I liked their old look, right? The old in between look, if you will. But I think they are trying to go back to it's the nostalgia piece everyone's got right now, where you're trying to go back to what was cool in the 80s or 90s or whatever, and so they're trying to update from that. Yeah. No, again, you basically went from guy who looked like he was working on a railroad. Maybe that's why they wanted to do more of a miner look, I guess. Maybe the pickaxe with a cowboy hat versus a miner with a miner hat. I don't know. But yeah, not to derail the whole thing with the Ron Swansons, which is
new one has
one of the best things.
Beard.
Right,
so that's
which you appreciate, right? But at the same time, getting back on track, though, we're not doing UTEP today. We did them last time. Unfortunately, this didn't time out the right way, which, by the way, while we're on this topic, real quick, other aside, I was thinking about starting off the show with this as the happy thing, but I couldn't turn away from England and Norway. Have you seen what the Big 12 just did? I'm so sad we had this afterwards. I'm so sad we did this happened right after we did the Big 12 episode, because we would have done a whole piece on this. They are now the Monster Energy Big 12 football conference. Monster Energy is the title sponsor of the Big 12 football and basketball. So every player will have a Big 12 patch. Yes, but they will have a Big 12 patch with the Monster Energy logo in that. And because of however they wanted to brand themselves, which this cracks me up, you're not allowed to change the color. It has to be the green M, right? Even though Monster has 7,000 colors and flavors within their cans, you got to have the green M against whatever you've got for your outfit. When every team could have just customized the M for their colors, would have been great. Known. It would have, no one's wondering what those three little slash marks are beneath the Big 12, right? But here's the thing that cracks me up. They did this. If you had to guess, how much do you think Monster is paying to do this? If you had to throw a number out there.
I am absolutely terrible with things like that, but I would venture to say it has to be, oh man. There's no way it could be like in the billions. I'll say half that, like 500
million.
So
500 million? Okay.
So
20 million.
Holy shit, I'm way off.
No, but that's the point. So you got $1.5 million a school, basically.
That doesn't do anything.
To put a bunch of Monster stuff everywhere. The only thing that I can justify this, and I'm not going to justify because I think it's hilarious and dumb, like we're going to have patches on everything anyways, and I really think that schools should, match up their mascot with patches if they can, with like companies. Like obviously CMU, we expect Central Michigan should partner with the casino because, come on now, it's the Chippewa tribe that does the casino. It's the Chippewas at Central. Maybe Michigan State can get some tourism thing with Greece going on. But the thing that cracks me up about the Monster piece and the 1.5 is that that's hardly anything when
That's
you look at a
you know what?
budget.
My math is still off. How many teams are in the Big 12? Because it's not 12.
16.
16.
So
So
it's
if I
about
were to
1.5 million,
re-guess that,
just under. Yeah.
I would, my actual guess of what I was trying to math in my head, and I didn't get there, but I still would have been way off, would have been 160 million, because I was thinking
Right,
about
like
10
10 a
million
school.
per yeah.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and that's what cracks me up is like you're putting a patch on it. The only reason why this deal could hypothetically make sense, and it's the most hilarious reason, is apparently tied into that somewhere, is the fact that Monster now is obligated to have Big 12 merch wherever Monster is. So maybe in the Philippines they're going to become like UCF fans. So that's the point. It's like it's going to be a bigger potential reach for the Big 12. That's the only thing that kind of makes sense, and it still is hilarious because what are you doing?
Fun story. One of my peers at work, his brother-in-law is the CEO, owner, or whatever of Monster.
Can you get him on the horn and ask him what the plan was there?
Well,
again, for him,
retired, so he
deal.
retired 2 years ago. So
well, you can still get a hold of him, right? But yeah, so maybe again for Monster, this seems like a pretty good deal, all things considered. For 20 million, you get to throw your name on stuff. You make everyone put your signage everywhere. I have no idea how that's going to work for RUL. I don't think there's any like obligation to only sell Monster. I don't think they went that far with it on the campuses and things. But still, it's a very interesting move for them to make. All of this was spawned because of Ron Swansons. Which, good Lord, Nick Offerman needs to do a thing at New Mexico State in the Aggie outfit.
Yeah, tell you, Google the logo, everybody.
Yeah,
Google the logo.
I would love that.
New Mexico State, and then Google Ron Swanson. Same
exactly.
Freaking guy. Here's the other crazy thing about New Mexico State. I have 5 players. Never would have.
That's
guessed.
crazy.
It is crazy. I have Tori Gethers. I have Sone Aipiu. Sure. Zedekiah Rodriguez Brown, Josiah Charles, and then the guy that I'm going to pick is Burnock Aya. All right. Now, Burnock,
that's a multicultural team.
Right. He's a safety. Man, I don't know why my page lost all of a sudden his, excuse me, a little coffee burp, not a beer burp, his height and weight. So if you've got that, that'd be helpful. But nonetheless, he's 53 tackles, 4 picks, 3 pass deflections, fumble recovery, took it for a touchdown, forced fumble. He's a little, he's filling the stat sheet across the whole board. Seems like he's involved in damn near everything. So he's definitely an intriguing guy. He came from Texas State and went to New Mexico State. So, and something interesting happened in between, which I don't have in my notes, but Texas State was 2022, and then somehow in 2025 is the next counting stats that I have for him. So everything in between,
and he could have done
2024. I don't know if it was an injury or something.
Could have been a JUCO stint as well. So
yep, I don't.
Here's
have
what I will tell you though.
So I do
about Mr. Brown. 2 things about Mr. Brown. One, he's 5. Oh, is Aya you're talking about? Okay, I was talking about Rodriguez Brown. I got confused there. Burnock Aya comes in at 6'2", 180.
I knew he was tall but thin.
Right. Which again, hey, you can work with that, right? As long as the guy can, you can put some calories on a guy. I feel like that's one of the things that NFL teams do pretty well. Yeah, he was the guy for me for that school as well. As we got derailed by everything with the Ron Swanson talk. Next up, the Missouri State Bears. Dude, this is another one where I struggled to find players. I actually found, I feel like in some of these smaller schools, you know which position group I kept gravitating toward for when I was trying to come up with players to talk about?
Dude, mine are always linebackers and DBs.
Linebackers. I feel like linebackers are undervalued in the transfer world. And so some of these guys that could be going to bigger schools aren't, because maybe there's a ton of them. Maybe teams value things differently, whatever. But the 2 guys from Missouri State, it's DJ Wesolak, who's an edge rusher. And that was the other one I found too, was like edge rushers that were intriguing. But legit stats come from a guy like Jared Lloyd. Lloyd, number 0, 6'3", 240 as a linebacker. Now that's a beefy son right there. That is the type of middle linebacker you love to see. Last 2 years with Missouri State, had like 70 tackles in 2023, Had 2024 off. I'm guessing that was because of injury because he's been at Missouri State the whole time. But last year bounced back, had almost 90 tackles last year, which good. Not great, but very good. Was okay in coverage, but the biggest thing is this guy feels like, especially 6'3", 240, this is a downhill thumping linebacker who's just going to tackle you and bring you to the ground, right? And teams need those. He's very much a box Mike linebacker. I don't know what his value is in coverage, right? And that's a big piece for the NFL today. But as a guy who can come in sub packages and just hit somebody and probably be a gunner on special teams, whatever, Jared Lloyd, you could do a lot worse than him coming forward. So I'll be looking for him with Missouri State on the random occasion that I get to find a Missouri State game on.
All right, last team for me in the Conference USA, and I don't know if you mentioned it and I missed it or you forgot or what, but this is my favorite team within the conference.
It is indeed your favorite team.
It is the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. I went with a cornerback. I went with Jalen. Well, he's the only player that I even have, so I don't know how many you've got, but it's the only option
got two,
I had.
But
Jalen Lewis, a well-traveled cornerback, started out at Arkansas for a couple years and then went to Temple, and now he's in Western Kentucky. But 74 tackles, 3 picks, 5 pass deflections, a fumble recovery. I mean, come on, he's crushing.
Yep. Now, usually when we pause and have to restart after a second or a little glitch or whatever, we just sort of paper over it. But as you can tell, you didn't adjust your eyes. I changed shirts. You, sir, are the reason for this because you needed. Now, again, just so we understand, it's still Saturday. We're still doing our thing, but it's now 2 o'clock instead of
hours later,
10:30 in the morning because your daddy-o surprised you by coming about an hour earlier than you were expecting to do some good old-fashioned domestic work.
Yeah, and I'm a little dirty and sweaty now. Clearly, you've showered and changed. I have not.
Yeah, so. I got out and mowed the lawn while you were doing your what electrical stuff?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's all you need to know. And the fact that you don't have your beard out like 6 feet means that you didn't hurt yourself. So that's good.
That's why I had Dad come. I am not like I can build a house perfectly fine from start to finish, except for the electrical.
Well, yeah, electrical is not to be trifled with. I mean, look. You screw up the plumbing, you can mop it up. You screw up the electrical, you're dead. That's what it is. You will die. That's why you want to make sure you got a buddy who knows how to do that or a family knows how to do that. So definitely great. Last team, though, here in Conference USA, as we spool things right back up, Sam Houston Bearkats. Here's the thing. I was thinking about what you said.
Hold the phone. You still haven't told the people or me what your favorite team is, and you're not.
Well, that's what I was about to say. This is my point. I was thinking about
my bad.
this, right? So I like the fact that they do Bearkats with a K, right? Because that's just silly. They're in the running, but now that I'm thinking about it, I basically have all 4 of the teams that I have, 4 of the 5 teams that I have. I'm not really a huge fan of Missouri State, but you got Delaware. I don't necessarily have.
We could do a trade.
Yeah, right?
If Delaware's your favorite.
I don't know. That's my point. I don't necessarily want to say that a team that's a freaking chicken is my favorite.
It's a blue hen.
It's a blue hen. It is a blue hen. But I like Kennesaw State. I like the Owls. I also like Liberty. And I kind of like the Bearcats. So I'm torn right now on this.
Wait, what teams do you have?
I've got Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State, Liberty, Missouri State, Sam Houston. All states, basically.
That's so basically Liberty. What you're saying is Western Kentucky is clearly the best. I got them. Clearly the second best is Middle Tennessee, which
I disagree.
I've got them. Those are the top 2 for me, and I got them both. And beyond that, I might say 3rd and 4th are like. 3rd's probably Delaware Blue Hens, and 4th's probably the Ron Swansons.
Well, and that's honestly
I got all 4.
The only reason why New Mexico State is up there is because the logo is a Ron Swanson versus otherwise be like meh, it's fine, it's New Mexico State. So I will get back to you on that. Right now, I'm going to say I guess I'll put Liberty tiny bit in the lead, but it could easily go another way. Of the teams that I've got, obviously we both love the Hilltoppers and their weird red mascot. All right, Sam Houston.
Well, your favorite team could still be one that I have. If Hilltoppers are your favorite, then it's your favorite.
No, that's what it is. The Hilltoppers are the best. Yeah.
Okay.
And at Delaware, I have a soft spot for just because they copied Michigan, right? So they just have the lighter colored blue and yellow than what the Maize Blue do.
And that bugs. I got my irrational thing. Remember, I told you a few episodes back that like I tend to gravitate towards the teams that are like the state name. So like Delaware, whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Love it.
As opposed to Delaware State. Also, Delaware State plays at a lower level. So there's that.
Yeah, see?
All right. 2 players for Sam Houston, though. Tyler Bailey, safety, and then Landon Brown, the first running back I'm going to talk about. And the reason why I haven't talked a whole lot about too many running backs, dude.
I don't think I have any.
No,
they all transfer out.
They all transfer. Exactly. They all leave. Now, to this man's credit, Landon Brown is technically a true junior. Now, he's a true junior. Right, there you go. He's a true junior, but he's also a guy that, because juniors are more likely to come out at running back, I think, than other positions, 5'11", 215. So you're kind of running back, dude. You're going to have to keep your eye on Landon Brown. Mind you, he only had a 5.8 last year, but still, 84 carries, 483 yards, 5 touchdowns. Also 37 receptions at that size, though, too. So this dude can catch the ball, pretty decent running the ball, also really wasn't a starter for most of the season. The most carries he had in a game was 13. So this is a dude who has a lot of potential to turn into something fun. And honestly, if I had to guess right now, my guess is Landon Brown goes for close to 1,000 yards, close to 50 catches, and is on another team next year and is making a bigger payday. That's my guess. But for right now, he's on my list for guys to look at. So that's Conference USA out of the way. Let's jump over to the Sun Belt, which some people say Sun Belt's on the rise, in the sense of like programs that are a little bit higher profile. They're probably the highest profile of the 3 we're talking about today. It's debatable where they slot in with the Pac-12, with the Mountain West, with the American. But they're in that next tier, so to speak. And they are the one
So
conference.
they're the 5th conference?
Something like that,
You think?
Well, fourth, I think.
No. The Big Four are the Big Four.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the other ones. No, they could be. They could be anywhere between 5th and 8th, and it wouldn't surprise me. Because some people like who's in the Pac-12 now. Mountain West sort of had to cannibalize other conferences to get to where they are. American has been the best one in people's minds the last few years. But Sun Belt, at the very least, the one thing they can say is if you're part of the Sun Belt, you don't have to fly across the country. All these teams are right down in there. And so points to them for doing that, including the team that you're going to start out with, which might be your favorite.
Well, it is my favorite.
Is it your favorite? Okay.
Yeah, because there's another one I'll highlight later that's very close. They're very, very, very close.
Fair.
But, the one that I'm going to say is my favorite is Appalachian State Mountaineers. I mean, that is my favorite college in the whole Carolina area.
Sure.
So, I mean, out of any of them, I think I even like them more than like Clemson, which is crazy.
Okay.
Even especially considering they're the ones that beat Michigan. But maybe that's why I do like them, because I was such a Rich Rodriguez hater.
Right.
I was like, you deserve that. Or no, because that was during Lloyd's last year, wasn't it? Or no? Or was that Rich Rod's first year?
No, I think that was Rich Rod's first year.
I think it was too, because I remember if it was Lloyd, I'd have been super upset. But anyways, that's irrelevant. We're talking about prospects. So I only have one. All right. And this player maybe is kind of fits your mold in a way. I forgot to write down his height and weight, but Colton Fairs, I think is how you'd say his last name. Phares, Fairs.
Yep, Fairs, sure.
But he's seems like he's allegedly a true sophomore. Seems like he's finally found his actual position at linebacker, but he has had some safety and maybe even some cornerback snaps. I think it's pretty much just safety, but you get it, DB. But yeah, he settled in at linebacker this past year. 101 tackles, 9.5 for a loss, 2 sacks, 3 picks, 3 pass deflections, fumble recovery, forced fumble. I mean, he's got it all across. He's filling that whole thing. But it's cool being a linebacker who's got the triple-digit tackles. But that experience as a DB, if you will, looks like it's clearly shown up with the 3 picks and 3 pass deflections. So definitely have got my eye on him.
When he's the fun size, like he's a guy that could be just about anything you wanted to be.
I didn't write it down.
Well, according to PFF, 6'2", 225. So if he's in that ballpark, that's decent linebacker size.
Yeah.
Running it back, we were both wrong, by the way. That 2007 was Willie Carr's last year. So I'm not saying that was the reason why he got fired. Or he got pushed out, so to speak. But that was his last year. I started
to backtrack because once I said it was about Rich, I was like, I don't think it actually was.
No, it was the year before. So you should be mad at App State for pushing Lloyd Carr out, because then we got Rich Rod and the dark days of Michigan football for about a decade there is what it felt like. Arkansas State Red Wolves, the guy who used to coach in Michigan, Butch Jones, was there for a little while. They've got a whole bunch of players. I actually have 5 Red Wolves that I have on my list. Tristan Smith,
can I ask you a question?
Offensive line. Yeah.
So I've got 1, 2, 3,
Sorry, I got
4,
4.
5, 6 Red Wolves,
Oh,
but the
all
Red
right.
Wolves are my team.
Yep, they are your team, aren't they? I'm at Coastal Carolina. Just kidding.
Which is a perfect segue because Coastal Carolina is in the running for potentially my favorite team in this conference, but this is one of those backdoor deals that we made. Where it's like, if I get this team, you can have that team, and you said okay. But I still think it might be App State, but Coastal Carolina, App State, and then one other team I'll say later. Right. All three of them are so close, it's not even funny. Go ahead.
There's just 3 teams for me as well, right? So yeah, Coastal Carolina, Chanticleers. I apologize. I was just so stoked that I had more than one guy from a team to talk about. Chanticleers, yeah. Oh.
I've been saying Chanticleers my whole life.
Chanticleer, man. You know why?
Wow.
Honestly, I say it, one, because it's French, because the French are fun like that. But also because this is going back in the childhood archives for me. There is an animated movie from, I think, like the late 80s and early 90s called Rockadoodle. And the main character, more or less, is an Elvis-looking rooster whose name is Chanticleer. Yeah.
Never saw it.
Or a little less intimidating than their mascot. The mascot's a little bit tougher looking. And a guy who looks pretty tough, to make that analogy, Ibrahim Diawara, is a 6'4", 260 edge rusher for Coastal Carolina. Only 3 sacks last year, but also only had 174 pass rushing snaps. Had 26 total pressures. A lot of those, again, were hurries rather than the other ones. So super raw when it comes to how much production he's had, but a guy who has a definite potential to be kind of their number one edge rusher this year, as he's jumped up his reps the last couple seasons, and had an 86 for his pass rushing grade on PFF. So again, projection, but it feels like this guy has some potential, especially at 6'4", 260. That's some pretty good size.
So of your 5 Red Wolves, which one were you going to talk about?
I wanted to talk about Chauncey Cobb because he's 5'6" and 160, and just get your take on that hilariousness of how tiny that dude is.
I didn't put him in there because of how tiny he is, but so who are the other 3 that you have? I'm just curious. I didn't put Cobb in there. And I have 6.
Hunter Summer, A.G. McGehee, and then Tristan Smith.
So we have one of the same.
Nice. I love when that happens.
I have A.G. McGehee in there, but he's not the one I'm going to talk about. I also had Avante Dickerson.
Careful that name.
Ethan Hasler, DeMarcus Hendricks, Tyler Fortenberry. I had all those in there, but the guy that I'm picking is Aaron Alexander. I did it because he's a Michigan guy, like from, I think, Belleville, and I don't know how I remembered his name, but he started out at Massachusetts.
Oh, that's probably why.
Then I was sad, and he went to Michigan State for a couple of years. Either way, well, actually, I think I don't know. I forget how they do it. I think the redshirt freshman year was at Michigan State. Because I don't know. It's weird. 2 freshman years, but he started out in Mass. But last year, finally got some playing time at Arkansas State. 91 tackles, 3 for a loss, half sack, a pick. So he's solid. He's not putting up the same numbers as my boy at App State, but solid prospect. And like I said, I think just because he is a local Michigan prospect, I had a little soft spot for him. So he was the flag plant.
Well,
sounds like it should be A.G. McGehee, though, because he's the only one we both had. But
I think it needs to be McGehee because Aaron Alexander's actually at North Texas now.
He transferred again?
He transferred again. This guy is everywhere. UMass, Michigan State, Arkansas State, North Texas now for his last season.
I am full. All right, it's official. I want the one transfer thing. I'm done with this.
But if we go with AG, right? He could actually be the person that you could put plant a flag for at 5'7", not 5'11", 5'10", 187. My goodness. He had a pick last year in 3 pass breakups. So he's got that at least.
I don't
bunch
know.
Tackles,
the backup
like 90 tackles, just about.
Dang. What conference is North Texas in again?
We already did them. They're back in.
I know, but I'm trying to update
my American. I think they're in the American.
Trying to update my spreadsheet.
My goodness, I don't have all that memorized yet. I'll be honest with you.
Me either, because there's the teams, the realignment's almost as crazy as transfers these days. Obviously,
right. But still, though, they're in the American. So that kind of
Rubbish.
we already went through North Texas. Most of North Texas's team got raided by Oklahoma State because the coach went there, so they had to raid somebody else, and they took guys from Arkansas State.
So I'll end the show with picking my new Arkansas State guy.
Okay, sounds good. I think we can roll with that. Moving on in the Sun Belt to teams and players who are actually in the conference. Georgia Southern, one of the two Georgia teams.
I see what you did there.
One of the two Georgia teams that we've got. You've got State, I've got Southern, and I got 3 Eagles to mention. One of those is Max Johnson. He's on the list as a weird, intriguing flyer quarterback because he started at LSU like 5 years ago, was the backup last year at North Carolina, broke his leg in like the one game he came in at or something like that when he was trying to take over. And so he is one of those like 26-year-old, 25-year-old quarterbacks that could put up a huge season and remind everybody why he was talented or might not do anything. The other two are Chance Gamble and MJ Stroud. And Chance Gamble will be the one that I talk about here real quick. Stroud is an edge rusher. Gamble is a corner, because I don't think I've talked about enough corners so far today. And it's hard, really. Again, same thing. Corners tend to be guys that teams snap up, right? So the weird thing with Chance Gamble, 6'2", 185. Usually guys with that kind of pedigree are going somewhere else. One of the reasons why he's still at Georgia Southern, he got hurt last year. Only played in 4 games. So he still has that extra year of eligibility. But when he has played, like the last 2 years of Georgia Southern, 4 interceptions, 9 pass breakups in that kind of season and a half that he had there. So not crazy, but Chance Gamble, which talk about a great name for a cornerback. Chance Gamble. Love that. Yep. He's on the all-name team, if nothing else. And so we'll see what Georgia Southern can do with him over the course of the season.
All right, on to the next team for me. I'm just going to call it out right now. I cheated.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems how you did all the teams for the smaller schools. How many do you have for Georgia State?
I got 2.
The Panthers. 2. What are the 2?
Josiah Robinson and Derek Maxey II.
I looked at their roster and I couldn't even find some highlights of Georgia State. That's a tough one to find.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I cheated.
Okay. How did you cheat?
I took an ineligible player. He's a freshman.
Okay, that's one way to do it.
Well, dude.
I'm wondering why you didn't have Josiah Robinson on there.
I don't know. Look,
he's a 5'10", 215-pound linebacker, so he's definitely a weird size for those guys. But the dude had almost 100 tackles last year.
I don't know. I just didn't do it. I went Grant Hollier. He's a tight end, a 6'2", like 215 or something tight end. He's a weirdo. 230, I think. 6'2", 230. So he's all, I just picked him because he put up decent numbers for a tight end, 21 receptions, 288 yards, 4 touchdowns, especially as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I can't help but look at this size and think that this guy's got fullback, like the H-back, like versatility.
Yeah. And he will definitely have to be that. Yeah.
And there was just nobody that stood out to me, really. So I cheated. My bad. I'm allowed to do it. I did good up until this point. That's the only I did.
And just a reminder to everybody, the guy that he just talked about, you're not going to hear us talk about again too much for the next 2 years. So nothing wrong with that. Moving on.
If ever.
Right. Moving on to James Madison, one of my favorites. If I had to pick a favorite in this conference, it's a coin flip between Coastal Carolina, James Madison, and Old Dominion. Don't know why. Just like them.
And you went ahead of mine's App State, Coastal Carolina, and Old Dominion.
There you go. Yeah. So we're both on the same page.
I'm going to say App State, but the other two are very close.
Right. I'd have to pick and choose there. I mean, James Madison has had a good run lately, so good for them. But again, once again, after Cignetti left, they're now replacing another coaching staff that raided their roster and went to UCLA. So apparently the coaching pipeline, by the way, is get a job at JMU, get 10-win season, go to Big Ten school. So pretty good run. Now, of course, the guy to do that this time would be Billy Napier, who is more of an SEC guy. We'll see what he can do there. But one of the guys that hung around James Madison is Gannon Weathersby. It's the only guy that I actually was able to find that I felt good enough about for James Madison that is staying for the production. 5'10", 223. He is a bowling ball of a linebacker. Basically,
I like that.
Roughly what you would have been like, I think, at your playing size if you would have bulked up enough to get there. He didn't have a spectacular year last year, but he's the best guy that I could find. Only had like 50 some odd tackles, but he also was playing a combo of starter minutes and backup minutes. So he's an undersized guy, still grabbed a couple sacks each of the last 2 years with the snap counts that he's had, and is definitely a box linebacker. So the real question for him is, can he play anything resembling decently in coverage? But fun dude. We'll look forward to see if he can keep thumping for James Madison this year.
So I won't save it for the end of the show. While you were talking, I went through and looked at some of my other Arkansas State Red Wolves. I think I will go with AJ McGee. Like both DeMarcus Hendricks and Ethan Haslett are very interesting because they both had 8 sacks, but they're both also like looks like they're redshirt seniors. I don't know how they're showing on the team still. Maybe they could, but because obviously it's been done many times. But I just don't know if I believe it.
Where are you seeing them on the site that has them on the depth chart?
Both ESPN and our lads.
Okay. Well, I will take ESPN. I will not take our lads. I do not think our lads updates they update their NFL
schools
stuff very quickly. But yeah, they don't
and
update
the big
college stuff.
programs.
Yeah, the smaller ones
There's
especially
the big
not their focus.
Yeah.
Not their focus.
But
next school
with
for
that
you,
being
though.
said, Louisiana Tech, I got the Bulldogs coming
The
up.
new
I have
member
2
of the Sun Belt.
Yep, and I have 2 Bulldogs, if
As
you will.
you
I
are.
have Colby Fields, one of your 2.
Nope.
Oh well, good thing he's not my guy, but he's the
I got 3.
linebacker. He is the runner-up. I have Eli Finley.
Yep.
That's my guy.
That's the guy I'd be talking about too.
Yeah, Eli Finley, a hell of a player. Like, just for me to think for a small school, all things considered. But tight end, solid size. I don't know why I didn't keep that in my notes. I don't know, but I remember him being
246.
Yeah,
That'll do.
yeah, I remember. Yep. So pretty much what you want. So he's a true junior as far as I can tell, but he's coming off from, as far as tight ends go, 2 consecutive seasons of solid production. I mean, if you go to 2024, 25 grabs, 314 yards, couple tutties, and then last year 38 grabs for 444. No touchdowns, sadly.
I'm trying to figure out why they didn't target him in the red zone. I'm not sure if that was his fault or the team's fault.
But nonetheless, it's 6'6", 240, and you're talking 63 receptions for 758 yards in the last 2 seasons. I mean, I'm interested.
Dude, here's the other reason why you should be interested. I don't know if you dug into the analytics stuff, but the dude had a 71.5 in pass and run block. Like his blocking grade was 71.5.
Oh yeah,
that's solid.
I thought I already said that he was a great blocker.
But yeah, great blocking numbers for a guy too.
Yeah.
To have someone that size that can block that well, that's great for them. I got a couple Louisiana schools to talk about. There's there's Louisiana Monroe and Louisiana Raising Cajuns. I'm going to start with the Cajuns. I had 3 Cajuns to talk about: Shelton Sampson Jr., Colin Jacob, Jake St. Andre, which is a great name, right? Jake St. Andre. I've got some fun name guys throughout the course of the day today, but I'm going to start off. I'm going to talk about Shelton Sampson. Mr. Jr. there is a wide receiver, and the reason why I'm talking about him, 6'4", 206. So a little bit trim maybe, but 32 catches last year for 537 yards, 16.8, and 6 touchdowns. What that tells you, this is a guy who can high point the ball. This is a guy who has at least some level of long speed for this team and height. Maybe you want to put on 10 pounds. He's technically a senior, but he's one of those guys that definitely has a redshirt year, so he'll be able to come back next year if he wants to. But again, if a dude his size has a really good year, if he puts up, 70 catches, he doubles his catches pretty much, doubles his yardage, gets over 1,000 yards, gets over 10 touchdowns, we will be talking about him as somebody who could hypothetically come out. So definitely the size weight thing. Again, or this is another guy who we'll just see transfer somewhere else next year.
Marshall, up next for me, I have 2 Marshall Thundering Herd members. I got
3.
Paul Hudson the third is my runner-up.
Okay.
You have him on your 3?
I do not, so I got 4.
Oh, please tell me. Dude, I hope this is this guy's nickname, but his name's Toby Payne, but all I could think is T-Pain.
All right, so Toby Payne, totally have him on there, and yes, his name better be T-Pain in the locker room, but I just want you to know that there's another guy on this team that's an offensive lineman named Jalen Slappy.
Yes, he's
great
been.
name.
No. I thought he went undrafted this past year. I didn't think he was eligible.
Man. I hope he's still on
Look
the team.
him up. He might
even.
I think he's.
Slappy.
No, I think he's in the NFL, or he would have been my pick for sure. I talked about him last year. No, yeah. He was on my list last year when I was talking about players.
It looks like he's still on Marshall's website right now.
Well, after I'm done with this take, I'm going to go ahead and insert him back in then. But
I'm
yeah,
not
you
sure.
could almost argue that he would be my guy.
Okay.
I swear I saw him at the Combine.
Jalen Slappy? Well,
Yeah.
he is on EA's 2027. He's an 85 overall. So
Yep.
yeah,
well, I'm a
according
big
to
fan.
the video game, he's in there.
Then, so he's my guy. Just didn't
Sure.
think he was eligible anymore.
Fair.
But just for fun, because I already talked about T-Pain and we already talked about how we like Jalen
Right.
Slappy. Dude, Toby Payne, he doesn't have the same size as he's a tight end. Okay, he doesn't have the same size as the last
Right.
guy we just talked about, but he's still
good.
6'4", 232. His reception numbers are right in the exact same ballpark, a little bit less. Receiving yards in the same ballpark, just a tiny bit less. But dude, the last 2 seasons, 9 touchdowns in the last 2 years.
Mhm.
So definitely putting up some numbers there. Super interested in him as well. Man, Marshall got 2 guys that I actually am interested in. That's fun.
Good for them. The way their program was 2 years ago, it looked like they might be taking a while to get back to relevance. And I mean, hey, they're still a little ways off. But Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks, I have got an offensive lineman to talk about finally. Now, I've also got Noah Flemings as a linebacker. But A.J. Vinson is a slightly, he's a lighter tackle, right? 6'5", 305, so there's certainly a world where maybe he moves inside. But his 1 year of play that he had at Louisiana Monroe so far, because I'm guessing he came from junior college, played right tackle for them. 0 hits, 6 hurries. He did give up 2 sacks, but still, that's on 354 pass blocking snaps. So pretty good numbers. His run blocking, a little above average, but his pass blocking is sitting at an 80. So for a guy who's 6'5", 305, that's a weird size. So he might end up having to move inside just because at 6'5" is like that number where you don't know where their arms are going to be. If you're lower than 6'5", it's almost guaranteed you're going inside. If you're 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", maybe you got long arms, maybe you got short arms. But A.J. Vinson has shown, at least in his last season, that he has some serious pass blocking ability. And in today's NFL, you can't really complain about that, especially on what's looking like a day 3 kind of guy.
Now we're on to Old Dominion, which is another one of the schools we both like quite a bit here. I have 4 Old Dominion players. I have Jeremy Mack Jr. I have Zion Frink, who I really wanted to pick. He's interesting.
Yep,
obviously,
I like
have him
him
on the list, but the name was fun. I have Brandon Crutchfield, but I went with Mario Easterly, a safety, shocker. So Mario, dude, his 4th year, but he had 2 redshirt freshman year, so he's a junior. Redshirt junior, however you want to say it. It doesn't matter to
Which
me.
that's going to go away too, dude. They're not technically going to call him, if this NCAA new rule technically stays in place, which we know it's going to get challenged.
If it stays
in place, it's just going to be 5th year. There's not going to be a redshirt year anymore. Guys are just going to get 5 years and they can play all 5 if they're good as a freshman or not. So that should be interesting to see how that development changes as we go. But yeah, right now,
I'm actually a fan of this.
Oh, yeah. It's a great idea if it sticks, which we know by now. If it's ideas by the NCAA, they always get challenged in court.
Yep. So this past season for Easterly, 80 tackles, very good for a safety. 1.5 for a loss, 1 pick, 4 pass deflections, fumble recovery, forced fumble. Again, he's active. You know, he might not be stuffing it, with the single pick, single fumble recovery, single forced fumble, but he's making things happen. The 80 tackles and size is why he's interesting.
Sure.
He's a solid size safety, so I've got my
I'm going to defend him a little bit on that too, because he only had 19 targets. So he's got 3 passes broken up, 4 passes broken up on 19 total targets. So that's okay. That's a decent ratio when you think about the fact that he just didn't do a whole lot because he wasn't tasked to do a whole lot in the coverage game. I got 2 more teams. One of those is the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, and good Lord, was this a struggle for me to try to find some guys to talk about. I found 2 names, but Southern Miss is a team that over the last couple seasons has been, they fired their coach last year, brought in the new coach from Marshall, who brought a bunch of Marshall players with him this year, and then that guy left for Memphis after this past season, so they're looking at trying to rebuild again. So I ended up I had Hiroshi Carter and then Broderick Roman. Broderick Roman is the guy that I'm kind of sitting on because he was someone that caught my eye a little bit sooner than the other one. This is a center. This is a 6'1", 300-pound center. So you want to talk about the sawed-off shotgun type guy, right? So to his credit, in 1,000 pass blocking snaps in his career with Eastern Michigan and Southern Miss. 3 sacks in 1,000 pass blocking snaps. 0 last year. He did have 10 hurries, which was a little bit of a concern, but 0 hits, 0 sacks. Just gave up some hurries and had some penalties. So there's still some things for him to work out, but on a team that looks like they're going to be in rough shape, he should have an interesting opportunity to show teams he can play anywhere on the interior and end up being like a UDFA 7th round kind of guy, especially in his compact form that could be good at center.
I got a question for you, Dan. When you talked about Florida State, what players did you have on your board? Is that too hard for you to pull up?
You know what? Florida State, I had a handful. I certainly had more than I did.
I promise I'm going somewhere with this too.
I had Deuce Robinson, Jamari Sains, Quintravian Wisner.
Okay. I want you to add a new guy to the list.
I'll do it right now. What do I got?
Only because I was looking at him for South Alabama, but he transferred to Florida State. His name's Nehemiah Chandler.
Okay.
His freshman year, he didn't touch. I'll do mini takes. His freshman year, he only played in 1 game, didn't record any stats, but that was at Georgia Tech. So he transfers to South Alabama and just goes, well, boom, here's 32 tackles, 2 picks, and 13 freaking pass deflections, and then welcomes, just boom, rolls out the red carpet to Florida State.
Apparently,
he's 6'1", 170, a little bit light, but
they got him down as 183 on PFF. So
that's a lot better. It's a lot better. But you see him say, like, intriguing kid.
There's a reason why he got the offer at Florida State when he put up numbers like that. And so for some of these guys, that's why they go down a tier, right? Get a chance to get some play,
just
and
to
then
get on the field and be like,
right.
Yeah,
gotta
that's
get some
why
reps,
Georgia
man.
Tech wanted him.
Right, exactly. But that's the other thing too. One of the reasons why it's so challenging for us to try to pinpoint the guys we think are going to move around. You can hope that a guy who's at a lower or a higher level, if you will, a Power 4 school, drops down to try to get playing time. But maybe he's just was a good kid in high school and can't make the transition.
So the player that I'm assuming is still on the team, he's been in college for 4 years, all at South Alabama, but he's got the double sophomore year for whatever reason, because he played in 11 games, the first one, 13 the second one. So he shows as a junior still. But in the past 2 years, 184 tackles, 14 for a loss, 2 sacks, a pick, a touchdown, 5 pass deflections, and a forced fumble. His name is Blaine Myrick, linebacker for Alabama. And like I said, I already did a mini one on Chandler. So to say, assuming he's there, he'll be my
the
guy,
problem
I guess.
with Blaine Myrick
he's
at Miami of Ohio.
Really?
Yep. We knew this would happen. I'm just glad that now you've got more. Right.
Well, it's only happened to me twice, and we're on our last episode, so that's not bad.
Exactly, yeah. But I don't have to meet once so far. So
look up Ty Goodwill for me.
Ty Goodwill.
Look up. Otherwise, I'm striking out on all 3 of my South Alabama guys.
Ty Goodwill. How do you spell it? Is it just Goodwill for the last name?
Goodwill.
Goodwill. Okay, that would explain why he wasn't coming up. Ty Goodwill.
He's the only other guy I got.
6'3", 195. Playing for Cincinnati.
Son of a gun. I don't have any South Alabama. I don't have a single South Alabama guy.
Javon Henderson and Anthony Eager are the 2 guys that I found. He's for Cincinnati now. So I'll help you out here.
Big 12?
Yeah.
He's in the Big 12?
I will help you out here by giving you Anthony Eager, a 6'1", 182-pound wide receiver who played South Alabama the last couple seasons, 41 catches, 300 yards, slot guy, basically. That's all I got for you. No.
Not interested.
It's rough, man. It really is for South Alabama. It's one of the hardest teams to try to figure out what to do with.
I'm just going to put player for South Alabama, TBD. That's the only one I don't have, everybody, and it will come later in the year. I'll find a guy.
Okay. Guy to keep your eye on, though, is Javon Henderson for South Alabama. 5'10", 190.
I looked at him.
Did have 4 pass breakups. That's all I got for you.
I looked at him.
Yeah. That's where we're at, man. It is a tough year for the Jags down there in South Alabama. Last team in the Sun Belt, it's Troy, the Trojans. Donnie Smith, Keno Jones, those are the 2 guys that I found worth talking about. Johnny Smith, an edge rusher is the one that we'll highlight real quick here. And again, edge rushers a lot of them don't stay at smaller schools, but he's a quirky one because this dude is 6'4" and 220. So that right there is weird, right? He is the wrong size to be an edge rusher. The height is good, but he needs to put on at least 10 pounds to be viable at the next level. He's obviously going to be more of a 3-4 kind of guy, but according to PFF, and again, maybe I'll have to check him over here real quick on the other site. According to PFF, he had 11 sacks last year, man. And
that's solid.
Anytime you're hitting double-digit sacks, you can't really complain too much about a guy's production. This is the only year so far. And again, 11 sacks on both, 13.5 tackles for a loss if you go off of Sports Football Reference. So his only year so far because he was doing junior college before that. But Donnie Smith is definitely worth a look, and he's on my list of like guys that I'm watching from smaller schools, especially at the edge rusher position, especially if he can put on 10 pounds and still maintain that speed. And if he gets into double-digit sacks again, we will be talking about him, this guy coming from a small school. Before we jump over to the MAC, I've been drinking a beer that I put in the fridge and I'm now trying to finish, and I'll be honest with you, it tasted better when I first opened it, but it's still okay.
Yeah,
it's still okay. And because I was cracking a beer at 10 a.m., the reason why I do not usually drink at 10 a.m., but I did it today because I knew I was going to be drinking tonight for the England-Norway, and then I think it's Argentina and whoever they're playing. I can't remember tonight. But regardless, those matchups, I had to grab something with fruit in it, right? So this is a little Wheezin' Juice Grapefruit IPA from Grand Armory over in Grand Haven, and it just kind of fit the vibe, right? Because grapefruit's always a good thing to start off your morning with. Juicy always. IPA is a good thing to start off your morning with. And it's a quasi-hazy juicy, right? So it's in that ballpark of, it kind of has both characters. It isn't that bitter, right? It is, but it's also just a very simple flavor. So I will say this, doesn't hold a candle to the B43, B43, right? As far as I'm concerned. It's fine. It's certainly good. It's a fun one to drink when it's warm out and you're looking for something early, so I'll take it for that. But overall, this one falls around about a 3. So if someone gave this to me, I would certainly drink it, right? But I'm not necessarily going to go seek it out again. It's right on that cusp of that.
Yeah, those are always fun ranges to be on. But you know what's funny?
What's that?
I didn't have a beer. So still, I need to go get some beer.
Yeah, you do.
I wasn't going to bust out any bourbon that early in the morning.
Yeah, fair.
Not unless I'm going to like a Lions game or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't. The only beers that I have are those stouts. Those, as hot as it is, this doesn't even sound good right now.
Sure.
But I'll tell you this. Last night, and I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the show, but I did talk about how like my favorite like seltzer like vibe drinks is the long drinks,
right,
if you will, which I think are probably yours as well.
Yeah.
But
it's the
it
gin.
Almost made me think like we need to do an episode.
Dude, we have been challenged with words since we've restarted this show. So have fun with that, everybody. Have fun.
And I'm only sipping, and it's only water.
Right.
It's whatever. It's the heat. I blame the heat.
Let's go with that. I'm fine with that. I like it.
Because we were both outside and it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, we might need to have like a seltzer like battle.
We can have fun with that. Yeah.
And figure out what the best seltzer is or something.
There's a lot of choices though. We're gonna have to cut off the list at 10 again.
And the only thing that gets messy though is because they come in so many flavors. So like, you know what I mean?
Oh no, like I said with the cheap beer challenge that we're gonna do, cheap beer challenge, the super light beer challenge, we're gonna have to find a place that's gonna let us do
that's
onesies.
Still cheap beer.
Yeah, well, it is cheap beer too. We're gonna have to find a place that's gonna let us do onesies because what are we gonna do with 37 extra? Well, your wife will drink some of the seltzers.
There's
right?
Tons of White Claws. So
right, yeah, White Claw will not be a problem, but we got to come up with something for the battle. I got to I'll talk to some friends, see if we can find a place to host this thing for us.
Well, the thing that I tried, and I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the show, is I went and I got the New Holland long drink.
Tollers.
It's called the Toller.
Yeah.
It's
just talking to a friend about that.
I would love to have, like, I might have to try it head to head. I can't decide if I like it better.
A friend of mine likes it better than a long drink.
A long drink, I think I like it better too because it tastes more like actual grapefruit.
Interesting. Okay.
Got a little bit more punch. It's 6% versus the 5%. And what's weird is you look at the taller, it's like this could be it. You would never know. It's clear, at least when I looked through into the little can. I didn't pour it in a glass, but it's clear. Long drinks have like that white, like it looks like
hazy. Yeah, right, exactly. Does look
You
like
know what I
square.
mean?
Interesting.
But
Well,
I think I like taller better too.
We're gonna have to add that to the list, dude, of
So,
our battles today.
And then I got people at work when I was talking about it. They're swearing by the John Daly Good Boys or whatever they are. They're swearing by the Founders Water Hazard or whatever. And I'm like, here's the thing, guys. Those are vodka based, and I'm just I like the gin based one. You know what? It has a lot of potential. Had a lot of potential. I don't know if they even make them anymore. But when Founders was doing the Mas Agaves, those were tequila based, but those are technically seltzers, right?
I think so. I think they're in the seltzer world more than the beer world. Yeah.
The only problem I had with those is just they were so sweet.
It's always the challenge.
If you can make a tequila based seltzer and cut that sweetness out, I'm intrigued.
We may have to look into that. I'm sure we can talk to some people. All right. I also had a few beers earlier this week from Railtown, which is a brewery that's only about like 5-6 minutes away from where I live, and it's a good spot to grab a bite and have some beer. And you and I did that a few months ago when you were passing through town. But when I was there this time around, I had 5 more, so I'll rip through them real quick. They had one that I had to try called What's Tamata, which is a New Zealand Pilsner. Had to do that. Here's why I like a New Zealand Pilsner versus just a typical Pilsner. The New Zealand ones generally have a little more of a hop to it. And so definitely liked that one. It wasn't great. It was like 3.25. A lot of the beers kind of hung around that 3.25 number, which is good, right? Not great, but good. And so did that, and then that one was solid. It had Pilsner, but not crazy Pilsner notes, which is good for me because Pilsner's usually boring to me, right? I had one called an IPA. So
that's fun.
Exactly. That's an American IPA, but it is definitely in the kind of juicy category. And because it was easy to drink, right? Another 3.25, another solid one. It didn't stand out. It wasn't like transcendent, but it was still solid, right? Then I also had We Break for Nobody because it was a black lager, and I had to try it because anytime black is in the name for a beer these days, I've got to give it a shot because I'm curious to see how they're pulling the roasty toasty bits into beers that don't normally call for that, right? And this one was fine. It's a Schwartz beer. It was a 3. It was fine. And again, probably because a lager generally starts at a lower level for me anyways. It takes a lot for a lager to get above that number. So it was good for what it was. And the fact that it had some extra character to it, definitely like that. My 2 favorites, though, Shattered Plains, which was, believe it or not, a hazy IPA. Sorry, dude. Summertime, hazies. Love them.
They hit.
Can't go wrong. That was a 3.5. That one was very good. And then because they do this is one of the reasons why I like going to Railtown. This is the reason why... this is my PSA again. Go to a brewery local because they're always going to have stuff that you're not going to see somewhere else in stores or anything else, or other places that may have a Railtown beer on tap or a insert name here of your favorite brewery on tap. They have a rotating barrel-aged tap that they just kind of keep rolling different things through, right? And so bourbon barrel-aged called I Am the Machine from 2023 that was a Russian Imperial Stout. And that one,
great stuff.
It was full on the first sip because all the rest of the ones that I've been having were a little bit lighter overall. But once my palate got adjusted to it, it was solid. Had great notes, exactly what you usually expect out of those Russian Imperials. The bourbon barrel aging can sometimes be overwhelming, but this was really mellow, which worked out great considering it's been aged for 3 years now. It's still coming out with a nice mellow flavor with that. It hasn't overpowered it in the time that's been hanging out and sitting there.
So there you go. Fun. It sounds like it was better. I forget the one when I was with you, the rotating barrel age they had, but we both thought it was way too sweet.
That one was way too sweet.
It was a pastry stout, so we knew what we were getting into, but still had to try it.
This one was definitely better. Last conference, we're going to fly on through the Mid-American Conference, which is no longer just in the middle of America now that they've added Sacramento State and lost Northern Illinois. I will say, as someone who's been to almost all of these schools in the MAC for when I used to work with CMU, good riddance to Northern Illinois. One, because it's basically like you drive
They're
past...
Huskies, though.
They are Huskies, and you still have them out in the Mountain West. But one, to get to DeKalb, if you're all these teams in the Mountain West, they're going to fly into Chicago and then drive an hour into cornfields to get to DeKalb to begin with. The press box, which I hope they've upgraded in the last decade since the last time I was there, was the size of a Cracker Jack box, is what it felt like. I had to get very creative to fit my gear in there so the two guys could actually do the show with me. So all I'm saying is not upset I think anyone in the MAC is not upset that they got to travel into the middle of freaking nowhere, although admittedly some of these other schools are too. But bye-bye to them. Now they just get to travel to Sacramento, California. So there's that. Oops.
Yep. That's a lot longer than an hour drive outside of Chi-Town.
What do you want to start off with here in the MAC?
Alphabetical, man. I got to start with Ball State here, man. And probably the coolest name in it. And holy moly, I hope he's still there because if he's, I don't have a backup if he's gone somewhere else.
All right.
But what would you say if I told you this guy's first name? This is all the first name is Willie Zahn.
No, I was going to say Willie Zuhan. So yeah, that works too.
I got Willie. Say however you want. Last name Yates.
Right. Yeah, Yates is a whole lot easier to work with.
Cornerback for Ball State. He's small, dude. 5'11", 158. But here's the thing, man. He's allegedly a true sophomore right now. As a freshman, played in 10 games. Played in 10 games this past year, too. So between the 2 years, 50 tackles, 2 for a loss, 2 picks, 7 pass deflections, forced fumble at that weight. I don't know that he's going to translate. The odds are so not.
Well, I will tell you.
But he just looks like he's fun.
Ball State is having some fun with that because PFF has him listed at 6 foot 175. So he's somewhere between 5'11 and 6 foot and 160 and 175. And that is a huge window as a corner.
Yeah.
Here's to hoping he put on some pounds over the course. That freshman 15 was a good idea for Willie Zahn. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Akron Zips, man, this is another team that was just difficult to find anybody to talk about. Mekhi Flowers, Donalius Johnson are the two names that I came up with. And because Johnson was the one I added later, I'm going to talk about Mekhi Flowers. He is a safety for the Akron Zips, which, again, talk about fun, nicknames, fun team names. They got a kangaroo. I have no idea why in the world they have a kangaroo for their mascot, right? But again, hey, if you've got it, you got it, right? 6 foot, 200-pound guy. Not a ton of production, but he came from Penn State. So, he was recruited pretty highly, right? Last year at Akron had good analytics across the board, just wasn't even really a starter last year. So this is kind of a projection for a guy who had great pedigree coming out of high school that he's going to be able to turn it around and put something together this year. Had a pick, had a pass breakup, had like 40 some odd tackles. And that, by the way, should give you an idea of what I think about Akron's program. They had a better year last year than they have in a while, but this is still a pretty raw school, and you can tell by the guys we're talking about from a recruiting standpoint.
All right, on to Bowling Green, and again, I hope he's still there because I don't have a backup. All right, and it's kind of a similar story to what you're saying. He first 2 years, well, I guess not his first 2 because his freshman year doesn't show up. I don't know where he was at his freshman year, but sophomore and junior year, he was at Indiana. So, obviously, a bigger program than Bowling Green. Right. But 2025, he's at Bowling Green. Starts 11 games, 22 tackles, a pick, and 13 pass deflections and a fumble recovery. But his name is JoJo Johnson. He's a cornerback, smaller guy, allegedly 5'10", 175. But, dude, 13 pass deflections. And when you were coming from a program like Indiana, they just won the Natty. So, I don't know. I'm intrigued.
Can understand why he wasn't getting the reps necessarily. But Johnson, so here's another fun thing, dude. You just talked about him, what, 5'10", 175? PFF's got him at 6 foot 180. So that's another huge 5'10" to 6 foot is somehow a big deal. When we're talking about the body shaming season.
Just for the listeners, I guess, curiosity, I'm getting my numbers just from College Football Reference.
Sure. Right, and we're going to have to do some cross-referencing, if you will, to see who has what when it comes to
I'm going to have to build a formula to average it all out. So
right, exactly. And somewhere in the middle, you hope, unless you've got a guy that shows up like 20 pounds lighter to the combine like we've seen a few times here and there too. Buffalo, dude, this was a struggle as well. I only have one bowl. I tried to find other ones, but one guy from Buffalo to talk about, Miles Greer, who was at Shepherd 2 years ago, which is a D2 school. I think that's where Tyson Bagent played at. Buffalo last year, though, he made the step up in competition just fine for a safety. He had 65 tackles, 3 pass breakups. Didn't have a pick, but still, he showed you that as a box and free safety kind of guy, and even a little bit of slot here and there, had pretty good numbers across the board. His coverage grade was good. His tackling was good. So not transcendent, but you can do worse than a 5'10", 200-pound safety. So Miles Greer is the guy to keep your eye on from Buffalo, and that might be about it.
Next for me, alphabetically, I'm going to Eastern Michigan Eagles. Yes, because we're skipping Central Michigan and Western. Finish up with I always share those. Yeah. I have 3 Eagles, man. Okay. I was kind of surprised. The 2 runner-ups, I had Nick Devereaux, wide receiver, and Joshua Long, tight end. But I got to talk about Bryce Llewellyn, I'm assuming I'm saying
Sure.
that right.
Yep.
I hope he's still there because last
He
year
is.
he was listed as a senior, so he's that fifth year, the new fifth year, if you will.
Right.
It just listed as DB, definitely more of a safety.
Mm-hmm.
I have him at 6'2", 205, but 102 tackles last year, 5 for a loss, 2 picks, 4 pass deflections, fumble recovery, but the 102 tackles. Anytime there's any type of DB hitting those triple digit numbers, I am intrigued, especially if you're 6'2", 205 at a minimum. It's like I like it. So Bryce Llewellyn, we'll see.
I like it. Yeah, he was the guy that I was going to highlight too, as well from that team. I'm still stuck in Ohio though. The Kent State Golden Flash is another program, super challenging for them to more or less climb out of the basement that they've been in for a long time, and it's just tough, dude. You're in the like I guess shadow, if you will, of everything to do with Cleveland, and obviously in the same state as Ohio State, and just in general, it's not an easy place to find talent that hangs around, right? And as a result, it was tough to find talent that hangs around. But there were 2 linebackers that I had to take a peek at, 2 guys that at least deserve a little bit of a mention, and it's Rocco Nickel and Kanan Williams, right? Both of these guys played at a decent level last year. I mean, and again, not transcendent. We're talking about a guy with 50 some odd tackles in Kanan Williams last year. And it's such a tough program to be good. I mean, this is Kanan Williams, a guy who's listed as a linebacker, and he's 6'2", 205, right? So when you're trying to find a guy that's going to be a difference maker at the next level from a program like this, it's an effort. And again, I don't know if you've ever been to Kent State, but it's not exactly a spot that a lot of people are using as a place that they want to come to. The other guy is Rocco Nickel, and again, same kind of thing. This is a dude who is 6'5", 245 is the reason why I'm mentioning him. He is technically a linebacker, plays some middle linebacker, played some weak side, played at Kent State for 3 years, went to USF for a season, hardly played at all, back to Kent State again to try to finish things off. I'll be curious to see if the extra year seasoning and his size at 6'5", 245 has anything to do with making him something interesting to talk about.
All right, Miami of Ohio, Redhawks. The cool thing here, Dan, is I got a backup in Blaine Myrick that I don't need to talk about because I already talked about him when I thought he was at South Alabama. But go ahead and go to your school thing and tell me if Eli Blakely is still there, because I have him listed as still there, but I also know he has 2 senior seasons in stats. So just real quick, the last 2 years, 2024, 89 tackles, 2025, 118 tackles. He is a defensive back, at 6'2", 200. He's got over 200 tackles in the past 2 years with 3 picks and 10 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles.
Well, here's what I can tell you.
So if he's there, that's what I would assume too. So that means Blake Myrick can be the guy. But
there you go.
I still see Eli Blakely is there. So if he's there, I'm super interested. He'll be an older prospect.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I think I don't necessarily. Yeah, they're referencing him in the Miami Pro Day from 2026. So it's going to be.
He's not.
It's going to be your other guy.
All right, I'll delete him off my board. Dang it.
Sorry about that. Blaine Myrick, though, definitely had a good year last year. South Alabama. I'll be curious to see what he can do this year for that team. Massachusetts Minutemen, probably both of our second favorite teams in this division.
Yes.
Again, obviously not the favorite because, we've got allegiances. Both of us went to CMU, so we're tying in there. But they got 2 linebackers to mention real quick. I'm just going to do a double take on them because why not? Tyler Martin and Timmy Hinspeter. Both of these guys played at UMass last year. Martin was more of a starter, Hinspeter more of a backup. But Martin, 6'2", 235, Hinspeter, 6'1", 230. So physically, they look like almost the same guy, right? Hinspeter last year, even as a backup, still had 65 tackles, had a pick and then 3 passes defensed, a pick, 2 passes defensed, and about 90 tackles for Tyler Martin. So we're going to be looking at the middle of the defense for UMass. Looks like they got a couple of fun guys that could be depth pieces for people as they're looking to build out their boards when it comes to next season.
Last team for me before we get to the shared teams is the Toledo Rockets. So I had 2 runner-ups here. I had 3 total players. The runner-up, Nasir Bowers. Also Junior Vander Ross, sorry. I thought about him. He's so small.
Right, sure.
I thought about him. I ended up going with Jacob Peterson. So he's a little light, but 6'4", 224 allegedly. Tight end. He's also a senior. His first 3 years don't show anywhere, so hopefully he's still there, to be determined. Right. If not, go with the tiny wide receiver. Vander Ross is my guy. But 25 catches, 335 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, I'm not saying that it's crazy good, but I was actually kind of shocked. I guess this would be my main take for Toledo. For whatever reason, I just always view Toledo in my mind as one of the more competitive teams within the MAC.
They were.
And there's just nobody there that I really was like, okay, I'm interested. But I got to pick somebody, so I went with Jacob Peters.
There you go. Yeah, Toledo's kind of on a bit of a downslide right now. Mind you, the MAC as a whole is a little bit down as well. So I have got 2 teams to finish up with because I've got the new boy in town now that the MAC is once again back on a they managed to stay on an unequal number of teams, right? And Sacramento State is that team. We'll get to them in a second. But to begin with, it's the other Ohio team, right? It's the Ohio Bobcats. And 2 linebackers again, Jack Fries, Michael Molnar, neither of which had amazing seasons. Molnar had 6'3", 227, 6'2", 222 for Fries, so same kind of thing. 2 guys very similar size. Neither of them played more than about 400 snaps last year, so they're kind of like quasi-starters on this team between this year and last year. Both guys were hurt for part of the season, which is one of the reasons why you can look at that number. But both of them still put up, right around 50-plus tackles. So again, 2 linebackers that are interesting pieces for Ohio, and given how Ohio usually plays, they've been a better team in the MAC. Linebackers get work, is all I'm saying, when you're a MAC school, right? Moving out of Sacramento State, the Hornets, which bought their way into the Mid-American Conference, which is such a hilarious statement to make, not to mention Sacramento. So if you're looking at a team to root for, I guess, and you don't have a rooting interest in the MAC, why not? Go out to California, which is going to be fun for the football teams here and there, right, to make a trip out there for the weekend, but it's going to be a bear for Sacramento State athletes to have to come to the middle of the Midwest in the winter
Travel the country every time.
Because, again, they're not a football program. They are all sports. So now you've just added a huge expense for everybody. Should be interesting to see how that all plays out. Nick Demetris, who played at Florida A&M the last 2 seasons, transferred up to Sacramento State. That's the guy I'm going to talk about because they had no one. Nobody worth talking about as far as I'm concerned. They had several players who transferred up to like Washington, to Oregon. So they had talent on the team, but it all transferred up. So Nick Demetris, 6'5", 305, interior defensive lineman. Definitely a guy who, it's hard to quantify interior guys. He still ended up with 2 sacks, though. Had a handful of tackles. Feels like a kind of dude who's going to be a little bit of a penetrator and gives them an interesting piece in the interior of that line. We'll see if he can do any damage in the MAC. Last 2 teams.
You did go through both of those already, didn't you?
Nice. Yeah, I didn't have a lot to talk about.
Well, how many Broncos have you got? I only had 2.
2.
To my surprise.
Ooh, I got 2 as well. What are your 2?
My runner-up was Joey Pope.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a new one.
Shoot, dang. And then the guy that I picked was that, I foreshadowed a bit. It's finally the only running back I did from the smaller schools. I went with Jalen Buckley. So he doesn't have the yards per attempt that I look for. His last year was at a 5.6. He's always lived in the 5 range. But, I mean, he's got 2 seasons of, the exact same number, 1,003. I was going to say.
That's impressive.
Of over 1,000 yards. But in the last 3 years, he's got 28 touchdowns. He's got 45 receptions. So he's showing he's capable in the passing game too. Like, it's really just get that yards per attempt up, and this is an intriguing prospect.
Right, and again, and that's one of those things where Western Michigan doesn't have the most prolific offense or blocking. So when you factor all of that together, that can definitely be a reason for why a guy is posting under a 6, when we try to have guys up at that number. So we'll see what he can do this season for them. One other Bronco to mention, Javarius Sims at corner is another guy that seemed interesting to me at 6 foot, 188. And last year had a couple pass breakups. He still does not have an interception, so that'd be the weird thing for him. But it seemed like he was pretty darn good covering the football, even if he hasn't found a way to pick one off yet. How'd you do with the Chippewas, bud?
Dude, here's the thing. I
don't know. Looking good.
I refused to look into it because all last year there were two guys that I really, really liked, and I don't know that they're actually on NFL rosters. I was just gonna wait and see who you had, but dude, did Kwiatkowski, like, is he still there?
No, he's gone.
Is Heldman gone?
Yeah, they're both gone. Heldman, I think, is with the Saints.
Man, I gotta figure out who they play with because I love those guys.
Is
last
with
year.
the Saints.
I can't believe. Is he really? I'm looking him up.
Kwiatkowski is in the Bears program from the look of things.
No, he sucks. I never liked him anyway. So.
Oh no, Steelers. Sorry.
All right, he's okay.
He's okay.
Well, that's not as fun. I just didn't look anybody up because, like, dude, I love those two so much.
No, that's a different. Wait a minute, College West Virginia. That's the wrong guy. Haha. No, so he's a Bear. I think no, that's a different guy. That was the guy who was there. Okay, I'm all over the place when I'm trying to do quick jumping. So there's a different Kwiatkowski that I was looking for from Central Michigan, and I looked up at the one that graduated 2 years ago.
Is Jordan still there?
That's what we're looking for right now. Jordan Kwiatkowski. I am, dude. I'm trying to figure this out in time. No, he is definitely graduated and part of the Patriots. If he hasn't already been cut, right? Now you really like him.
He's gonna make the roster.
There you go. So yeah, neither of those guys are still on the roster. Sorry, bud. That's one of the reasons why it was hard to figure out who we're going to be talking about. So instead, Langston Lewis is the only guy that put up numbers that hung around.
The wide receiver.
We're talking about, 6 foot, 195, 43 catches, 596 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's it. That's all Central Michigan has for returning production that makes you feel good about it. And we're not even trying to be biased. We are CMU fans, and it is it's going to be an interesting year. Second year with the coach. He's trying to build the team in his image. They love running the football, so we'll see what happens for the Chippewas. But right now, there's not a lot of talent that we can speak to returning on that team as far as what they did last year. But that's the fun part. We talked about several hundred names, half of which might end up at a draftable by the end of this year. Another third of which probably are going to end up going back for another season. We'll see what happens. But final notes on all of this as we've gone through all these conferences, bud.
Dude, it's the same thing that it's just so cool to be talking about new names, you know what I mean? But yes, holy cow, does it make it tough with this transfer portal. I can't believe that I only messed up. It literally just fell apart with South Alabama.
Right. No, you did a good job.
That's pretty good.
No,
that's pretty good because I think you had a few, or you tried stealing my team.
I definitely had one. I definitely had one. I tried to steal your team as well. Yeah. And funny thing was, I had that in the bigger schools. At least you stumbled with the smaller ones. So yeah, we will have those lists merged together and 600 names that will whittle our way down from there. But it is going to be a lot of fun. We are entering our brief off-season period now, dude. I don't even know what exactly we're going to talk about over the next few weeks, but I do know that we've got a craft beer week and craft bourbon week coming up where we're going to merge the drinks. We're going to throw seltzers into the mix as well. Yeah, we got the light beer challenge coming up, and then we've also got, this is where we get into some fun topics that we haven't even completely fleshed out yet. It's going to be a good time. So catch us for the next month and a half until the season starts. We're Jack.